welcome back. Yep, that's recording. Okay, we're good. We're fine. Oh boy. So yeah, for those on, if I have done this as a recording for a podcast, hello, this is the second episode. For everybody else, hello, this is the first episode, and that will not get confusing. Honest. All right, maybe a bit.
Probably.
So yeah, just a bit. So obviously the whole thing of starting episodes like this is just plain weird. I have not got my head around it yet. To think I used to do a podcast, admittedly about tiny little plastic figures that you put paint on, but still, you'd think I'd have a hang of doing sort of like starts of episodes and stuff. But what I kind of wanted to bring up was the whole way that things have changed in the last 18 months, nearly 2 years now, of everybody being at home to play these games and not meeting up at random people's houses. I have one person here that used to play a monthly game that used to come over to my house to play a monthly game all of 2 years ago now. So Becky used to be in a game that we actually played here in this house, not in this room.
In-person gaming?
In-person gaming.
What is this?
It's just crazy talk that never happened. But I mean, that was downstairs, not in this box room, because this box room, we wouldn't fit the 6 of us in here. It would be very cozy. Anyway, so yeah, when my brain had just gone there, I was thinking about the fact that everybody's now doing this sort of stuff from home, and the changes that we've made, and you know, doing stuff with virtual tabletops and with computers that effectively act as radiators. Because I've come up here for this second half thinking I'm going to cool the room down because I'm starting to get really warm and I can feel myself starting to sweat, and better check, you know, I'll open the window and pulled the curtain back, looked at the window and thought, oh no, it's already open. This is a problem. I'm going to boil for this second half. So how have people found transitioning to playing online for your games, if you have, or have some of you somehow worked out ways around it? Yeah, I'm going to go to the one person. Well, I've got 2 people I absolutely know do online because they're in my games, and one person that I know absolutely does online games because they're GMing. So I'm going to go to my GM first. How have you found it moving everything to online rather than in-person gaming?
I think at the beginning it was a bit of an experience. So obviously the go-to back then was Roll20, and that was the one that everybody knew, and it was okay for the odd game if maybe you couldn't meet up in person, but actually it was quite limited, and there was loads of features that they would always talk about on the forums, but actually nothing really happened. And then obviously COVID happened.
Yeah.
And then everyone had to be locked upside. And for the first few months, we didn't really know, is this going to blow over? So obviously a lot of things kind of stopped. But then once it was like, no, actually, this is going to be a ongoing thing, we had to kind of adapt. And then I think at that point, that's when things like Foundry started to come into play and start going, well, actually, virtual tabletops are going to be at least the future for the next couple of years, and if not beyond. Now we've found a convenience of doing it from home, and that's when more and more features have been inputted, and now I'm just like, well, actually, the amount of stuff you can do for convenience compared to having a table with maybe a GM screen, papers everywhere, and being able to have screens with your notes on and flick through PDF documents, actually it's really quite nice. And especially with Foundry, the fact that there's so many user mods that people have made for everything. It's like, I want this. Search. Oh, it's there. It's just really useful. While obviously, again, on a tabletop, you've got your books, and that's about it.
Yeah. I said very much earlier on in the first part that I'm possibly the addict GM. I say that with a mild pinch of salt, but I do run 4 different Pathfinder games, 2 Pathfinder First Edition and 2 Pathfinder Second Edition now. Most of those are every other week, this one included, and then one once a month when everybody can stars align and all the rest of it, because it's not easy getting that group working, but we try. But there's certain sort of bits and pieces in that, and those sorts of things happen. That's fine. I could not run that many games without virtual tabletops.
Yeah.
There's no way I would be doing that many games, and I will say, put in the secondary comment, I could not run that many games without them being adventure paths as well, pre-written stuff that I can pull into Foundry automatic, and it populates all of my stuff, and there's all of the, at least all of the text that I've got to read, and that's a joy. And I know for you, Lily, you're doing yours is custom creation and all of the rest of it, but and I have this heady idea of one day doing a recorded campaign which is going to be completely homebrew, and I've got my world kind of set up on World Anvil. For those of you that use it, there's a world there that I'm trying to tinker with when I've got free time.
Yeah,
but that's, I mean, we're all working. We all have our jobs. We have stuff that we do during the day. We're all pretty much working from home in order to do that. So our home life during the day is pretty much taken up. And then, certainly for me, I've got a 4-year-old kid and 2 dogs, and all the rest of it. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do what I'm doing now without virtual tabletops. It just,
I think the only problem with tabletops from a point of organization is because so many people are still working from home. I know for myself, maybe quite a few others, it's quite easy to get sucked into work things that end up going beyond maybe your 5-6 o'clock ending, and then it gets to you 8 o'clock and said, I'm still deploying this, I'm sorry I can't turn up. Well, obviously if you're in the office, you might, if you're driving home or whatnot, you generally do have a more hard stop at the end of the day. So I am finding the work-life balance kind of blending time-wise quite closely together, and sometimes, unfortunately, a lot of sessions get cancelled due to that. Whereas in person, because it's a much more social event, like, you might have hosts, you might have snacks. If you're into that kind of thing, you might have alcohol or whatnot. You become like a group gathering, and it's much more, it's an event to go out and do it, and it's kind of something you put in your diary and you'll make it every week. Well, I think again, tabletop online is a lot easier to just say, I can't make it. Can we move on?
So, Dave, what have you been doing in terms of? I mean, obviously you've got this online game, and I've kind of pulled you into doing it this way. But have you been transitioning to online, or have you been trying to maintain as much in person as you possibly can?
Transitioning. I've been playing online games for years. No, my what is currently my Tuesday group went through several iterations of in-person, hybrid, online, and in-person. Because let's sit some laptops on the table and fire up Skype. To fully online, which is useful because I've got 3 players in Sweden, 1 player in Germany. Mostly we do theatre of the mind. Because trying to wrangle technology for some of these people is, I mean, not their fault or a fault with the technology. It's just, it's easier, and it doesn't require the same level of prep. My main beef with VTTs is there's more prep than I would usually put in when I'm playing face to face. Because I can't just draw something on a battle mat.
Although I will admit, I don't necessarily miss having to draw out maps sometimes when you're copying existing ones. If you're doing them off your head, then it's fine.
But if you're copying existing maps, then you usually stop halfway through drawing and swear at the person who designed the map. But it's horses for courses, and it's what works into one of my in-person groups. We tried to transition to using Roll20, and it just wasn't the same. Because this is a group that we've fully transitioned to, and it's just not the same. without making one of the players hyperventilate and go red when someone makes a slightly risque joke.
Well, we'll try not to do that here. I don't think that's ever going to work. I'm going to go to Becky very quickly, and probably, I'm afraid, JJ, not have time to come to you on this one, but because Becky, I know you've started playing in character again. In person again.
In person.
In person again. So
yeah. That's been weird to go from weekly in person, if not twice a week at one point, then went to online and the shift to that, and that created its own challenges, and now gone back to in person. It's very strange. It's been good. And it's been nice, but I feel, having played online with the same people, I feel like we kind of got closer because of the experience throughout COVID and us being at home and using things like D&D as an escape from what was going on, and it was wonderful and did its purpose for that. And I think that gave us the opportunity to get to know each other a little bit on a deeper level. So now we're back in person again. Those jokes are carrying on, those characters are carrying on, but it's all just a little bit deeper. It's really nice. But I wanted to say about online stuff is the fact that it is so much more accessible for people with disabilities. And it's my area that I love, is that I can take part. Like, there are many times I've had to cancel in person because I physically can't get there because I'm in too much pain. If I'm not on camera, I can sit in bed with my laptop and my headphones, and I can still play a game, with my friends. So there's pros and cons, I suppose, to both.
Yep. I think the fact that JJ's just vanished off the face of the earth. I wonder where he's gone. We're in a
I blame animals.
We're in a position, certainly, where, because of work and because of when we're recording this and everything else, and simply where everybody is in the country, because I've not picked people that's local to me to play this. This would take a challenge to get everybody in the same place, because we're quite spread around the country. I think as far north as Durham, and Lily, where are you? Down south?
I'm just north south, just north of Brighton.
Yeah, so we've got quite a distance to get everybody into the same space if we wanted to. So I have to say that the pandemic has been horrible for certain things, but the way that online has increased in the way it has, I can't complain too much, and it's allowed me to do a lot more than I did before.
So I certainly wouldn't be playing with this group of people if it wasn't for online tabletops.
Yeah, exactly. So we have to tip our hats a little bit to the way that this technology has come on. But I think it's probably time for us to start again and get into this adventure, and actually properly now get into the ruins themselves, I think. So the morning the morning after you've all arrived and got yourselves back together, you start heading out towards the Gauntlight. Backpacks all settled on your shoulders, full of anything that you feel that you can carry and that you might need for this journey. The sound of frogs and mosquitoes mixes with water sloshing against muddy shores, all muffled by the ever-present mists that linger in the aptly named fog fen. As the mists clear, a shadow looms from the cloying swamp vapours. A sprawling ruin of stone and wood squats atop an island in the soggy marsh. The upper floors have largely collapsed, leaving only the stone walls of the ground floor intact. Above these ruins towers an out-of-place monument, a colossal lighthouse whose painted walls and iron-cased crown have resisted the corrosive effects of the surrounding swamp. And as it happens, I've actually got a picture of this for you. So if you all refer to your foundry, hopefully you should now be able to see this ruin.
Pretty.
So this is the Gauntlight ruins. Now,
The architectural style is early Maniac.
It's fair. It's a fair comment. So this is a relatively well-known ruin in the area. Certainly the stories and the tales around the Gauntlight are relatively well-known. Once there was a sorceress known as Belcora who constructed this fortress with this odd lighthouse in a bid to effectively topple the hierarchy of the largest city on the entire island. She really didn't get on with Absalom. Something in her past, something had happened to her which meant that she'd been driven out, or her family had been driven out of Absalom, and as she grew older, more bitter and twisted, she decided to build this this structure. What you all know is that when the structure was completed, a group of adventurers known as the Rose Guard effectively stormed the building and took on Belcora directly. 3 of the Rose Guard escaped after Belcora was destroyed. Quite a colossal explosion was involved, and this explosion took the life of Atari, the rogue of the group, the sort of known to be a sort of thief and that sort of thing. But they honoured his name, and effectively they built the settlement of Atari within the sort of eyesight of the ruins. And Atari itself, the town, has gone through quite a number of different sort of phases in its existence, but for the most part, what you know is that there is history. The history of the naming of that town is all around the Gauntlight in this building. As you progress closer and closer to that tower, you start to notice a few bits and pieces. There are notes of graffiti on the various sorts of bits of ruins, bits of carved in sigils and things like that. There's nothing really serious to them. It's just, it shows that this entire structure is definitely dilapidated. It's been here for centuries. Why the lighthouse still stands, nobody really knows, but that seems to be the only thing that survived and has remained. It's clear that this area is used by squatters. There's discarded sort of bits of board and boxes that people might have slept in, and various bits and pieces like that. You can see standing water, mould, and it has a very strong odour. This fog that comes out of the swamp has got quite a putridy, swampy smell to it. So the area is run down, and this is a sort of the general feeling that you get from the environment that you're in. As you progress closer, you start to see this the sort of structure that you now have in front of you, and I'm going to swap over the people that are watching to our our boundary, so that you can all see what the players are seeing. This structure in front of you looks like some sort of entrance way. The doors, 2 large double doors, fairly squat buildings, some sort of gatehouse perhaps, or just general entrance way, but it's got a certain grandeur, a certain size to it. It's a squat single-story building, whereas you can tell that the rest of the ruins were probably supposed to be, you know, higher, larger, more grandiose than this. This is still sort of, you know, set up relatively well. It's about 10 foot, you reckon, internal. Oh, hello. What's happened to JJ? You still there?
I am indeed.
Yeah, your camera's gone, I think.
Ooh.
It's very orange.
Oh no, we can see you. You are still there.
Yeah. There's an outline. Anyway, just to let you know, your camera's gone a bit weird.
Back in a moment then.
So yes, you can see this
there we go.
surrounding the surrounding this building is plenty of water. You can tell that this ultimately you can see ahead of you that the vast majority of the keep sits on an island in the middle of the swamp, quite a large substantial island in the middle of the swampy water. There is another very large outer building on your sorry, to the east of you, which they can't see on the stream, but that's fine. They can see you guys, and that's all that matters. So yeah, you can see that there's another large building over to that side, but there's no clear, certainly from where you are, there's no clear entrance on that building. Not that you could get to anyway. This appears to be your main option in.
Stately Swamp Castle.
Not quite as grandiose as I was expecting a grand sorceress to have been in, but you know, it is what it is.
I mean, she was defeated, so like I'm sure it looked a bit more impressive like when she was around.
And it has been a while. Time brings down pretty much everything. Let's face it, having a look around at some of the rubbish and bits and pieces left behind, I've had a few likely types in here causing trouble, locking things away.
Hopefully it is just those kinds rather than someone like Balakor. And it's just going to be fairly minor, or someone having a bit of fun up the top there.
Oh, you folks saw it and I didn't. Do you reckon that blue glow is someone poking a bit of fun, or do we think that might be a little bit more sincere?
It's not impossible. Unlikely, but not impossible.
I can but hope.
A long trip for a short stop. Oh.
I suggest we make our way in and see what we can find.
Absolutely.
Going around doesn't seem too promising, so I don't know.
Just going to take a moment, literally just have a walk around the bit we've got, so we've got a bit of an idea. So I'll probably just head up.
Yep, by all means, move your token around and have a look about. It
What?
should allow you to.
What's the door
Yeah, I
made
can
out
move.
of? Is it a wooden door?
So the door looks like a wooden door. It actually seems relatively intact. Actually, the door seems in pretty good condition. You don't feel that it would stand up to you giving it a good shove, but yeah, just looks like a fairly simple wooden door.
Walk up to the door. Is there any like knockers or anything like that?
No.
Can we look it over for traps?
I'm more than happy. Who wants to be looking for things like traps? Who's going to be doing that? Just you, Neffy?
Not
or...
me.
Because I shall roll this for you, because this is a
Oh yeah, I've got you do this, yeah.
Secret roll. You have a look over the door, and you are 100% convinced there's no traps on this door.
Okay.
And sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say I raise my fist and kind of knock on the door, not thumping on it, but
Yeah,
you know, it's just yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a moment to strap my shield on my arm.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fair, because I should be asking you this. Is there any specific sort of actions you're taking while you're exploring? So we have we have at least a shield on, but that's not the same thing. So again, I'm sure I'm teaching a lot of the people that are watching this how to suck eggs, but there are a number of exploration actions that you can be taking. So you can be searching, you can be avoiding notice, defending, recalling knowledge, detecting magic. So there's a whole raft of sort of things. Scouting is a fairly standard one. So just for my benefit and for those people that are out there, what we're going to do is effectively people are going to decide right now what they're doing, but for the most part, I'm going to assume that carries on. And until somebody says, actually, now that we're exploring in this environment, I'm actually going to change what I'm doing. For the most part, we're going to have a fairly set of sort of options of what people are going to do. Sure. So starting nice and simple, I'm going to go for the two people that know the system a bit better. So Mosran, let's start with you. What is Mosran's standard exploration activity?
Until further reasonable notice, scouting. It's an uncivil place where uncivilized individuals live. Let's keep an eye out for them. Okay. So that's the boost to initiative.
That's the boost to everybody's initiative. So everybody will get +1 to initiative pretty much from now on, so long as Mosran is scouting. Neffy, what is Neffy going to be doing?
As we're planning on going through a door, I'm trying to avoid notice.
You're avoiding notice. Yep, that's also again pretty reasonable. So now we'll go. So what is Anya doing?
So I still have my sword sheathed, but I would have my shield in my left hand.
Okay.
And defending. So
defending. So you automatically have your shield raised at the start of any fight. And Phelan.
Searching.
So
remaining observant.
Remaining observant. So that's going to be our standards. That means I have a certain set of secret roles that I know I need to do, on and off when I need to do them. So just out of curiosity, Neffy, what is your stealth bonus?
+6.
+6. I already have Phelan's perception, because that's one of the things I've got written down. None of the rest of you have anything specific to roll, so I shall bear that in mind. So that's fair enough. So yep, you sort of knock on the door. Mosran's sort of checking around the sides, doesn't see anything specific, although probably from where you are, you can tell that this goes on for quite some distance. This is a very big ruin. I would like, please, all players and all people observing to ignore the sodding great black space on the western side of the screen. I can't do much about the map sometimes, and that one's a bit that I can't do anything about. So, unfortunately, that is there. But you get up to the door, you start listening at the door, for those of you that are there, and you cannot hear anything specifically going on. Phelan, you have a sense that there's something on the inside, as something making a bit of noise, but whatever it is trying to be quite quiet. It's just something not quite right.
I think there's something in there. Not sure what.
Ruins.
Something moving. It might just be the wind.
Is to always be vigilant.
There's something moving around there, and we're talking out here. It's going to know we're out here.
So, do we open the door and say hello then?
I do believe somebody has already knocked.
I've knocked politely. If there's someone staying here, they may wish to open the door for us.
There is no sign that anybody is coming to the door.
Knock, knock, treasure inspectors.
We're not here to loot the place.
Well, no.
Speak for yourself.
I will speak for myself. I'm not here to loot the place.
What use have I got for excessive money?
Did you find any other way around?
From what I could see from around the side, there's a bit of a moat. In the corner of this building, this looks to be more of a gatehouse than a fully connected piece. Basically, just steps a little bit around the corner. whatever's in here is probably in here. As
Might give us
opposed
some
to,
higher ground.
yeah, bit of perspective on what we're looking over to. And I'm never a fan of leaving something unknown right behind me. So, if someone's going in the front door, I'm more than happy to keep an eye on the back door and see if they run out.
I'll take point, and I try pushing the door. No, not charging full force, but just trying to see if it's open or if it's locked.
Okay, so you push into the door, so just lean into it, and the doors will just slowly open themselves. And this is what you see. Swaths of mildew and mould cover the damp surfaces of this watchtower, appearing as green and black smears on the dull stone walls. The door frames in the wall to the north and the south seem to be rotting quite a bit, actually, from the inside now that you look. While a few collapsed chairs lie on the floor amid small heaps of foul-smelling grey lumps. Thick sheets of dusty cobwebs hang from above, obscuring any view of the ceiling. So as you look up, about 7 foot up, so for most people that's not a problem, but 7 foot up, there's just this mass of webbing of old cobwebs. They don't look like fresh. They don't look like they might, that these are newly put together things. In fact, as you're looking up there, just check. Yeah, every single one of you. You're having a look, and you realise that the webbing almost looks like it's been deliberately brought in here. And the reason why you can tell that is because suspended above the webbing are what look like planks, like somebody's created a walkway up in the ceiling using the webbing. And you all start to hear a very interesting voice, but only one of you can understand it. Anya, in Undercommon, you start hearing tiny little voices coming from above you. If you're going into the dungeons, you'll need to make sure that you're ready. There's lots of pixie magic around here, and you need to make sure that you're using the pixie magic mud that's on the floor to protect yourself. You have to eat little bits of it. The second you hear that, and you hear the tone in it, you know immediately whatever's up there is lying through their teeth.
It's messing with you.
Just hearing a voice that I don't know. I'm going to carry on walking around the building.
Everybody else hears this really kind of... It sounds like somebody trying to make a high-pitched voice.
Mm-hmm.
I try and work out roughly where it's coming from above me.
Okay, so based on the fact that your roll when I did it for your perception was a nat 20, you immediately, as soon as you heard the voices start going on, you realised that there are 3 creatures up in this sort of raft area up above you, and these 3 creatures are very interesting looking things. I will pop you up one on the screen. There you are. This is what you see. Sat up in the top there, and as soon as they kind of realise that you're not buying into this, they all make this kind of sort of shrill hissing noise. And I'm going to need all of you to roll that wonderful, wonderful thing. We need an initiative check.
+1.
+1 to everybody. So that does mean I'm going to have to manually update it. Let me just add you to the combat tracker. There you are. So you should now all see that you are on a combat tracker. You are all more than welcome to roll off of that. And everybody can hear the random rattling dice in their ears.
We can, if we're using... Sorry to interrupt. We can, if we're using the system, actually put a +1 on it. I've not done this time, but you can do a +1 to circumstance.
Yeah, I think that's only if you go onto your character sheet though and roll. If you're using the combat tracker and just hit the dice, it just rolls straight. So that is, I think, a little bit more how we want to do it. And
okay.
Bits and pieces. So I'm just going to very quickly update all of these participants that have got themselves a +1 and make sure that they are in the correct positions on here. And then once we're done, we'll just swing the music round a little bit, make it a little bit more
battle theme.
Battle themey, yeah. A bit of
dramatic.
A bit of dramatic battle music.
Fight.
I tell you that anybody that's heard Sirenscape will know all of these music tracks because they're used everywhere. These are the most common, the greatest hits of battle music on Sirenscape. But we shall begin this fight, and as it happens, it's one of these little creatures that's going to go first. So it's going to sort of scurry its way. So for its first action, it's going to scurry its way over towards the east. At the moment, it can't actually see anybody, so it's going to scurry its way across the top of the building into sort of sight of most people now. You can see you can hear this as this creature runs across these rafters across the top. And it'll turn round and looking at Anchor, it will pull what looks like a tiny little dart, just this little dart, and it'll try and yeet this dart at you. So it's gonna try and do that. It's got a reasonable skill at this. But I don't think a 12 is going to hit you.
It does not.
With that. And so that's one of its darts gone, and then it will. What will it do? I think it's probably going to. It's not really got a lot else it can do. These tiny little things, they're not much. You can see that it's got a short sword on its belt, but it doesn't look like it's too happy with the idea of coming down to have an actual fight with you. So it's going to grab another dart, and it's going to try and have a go. That might well hit you though. That is a 22.
That will definitely hit me.
That will definitely hit you. So it lobs this tiny little dart at you, and it manages to sort of catch you in the arm or something similar to that. It does, however, only do 1 damage to you. So this little dart comes swinging in and catches you in the arm, and sort of does not really a lot to your health. So yeah, if you can record that on your character sheet, that would be great, because the next person is Mosrun.
Okay.
Neffy, you'll be up next.
Hearing things going slightly not necessarily as planned, hearing a tink and a kind of noise.
From where you are, you can tell you can't get up onto that bridge from here.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just that the space would be too difficult to get in and then up on it. So
not a worry.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Let's go. That would be 1. There's the 1. Yep. In fact, no, I want to do. Deselect that thing. There we go.
The joys of using a VTT. There we go, guys. That's what it is. Can't pick up tokens.
It's planning the route, because whenever I select my character, obviously I get the fog of war for my character, and then I forget where all of you are.
There is that. There is that.
Okay, so I might as well go straight in, thinking about it. Sense of humour. There's 25. Technically, that's 25.
Yeah.
And then I think they're around there somewhere.
Well, I'll be able to move you back if you're in the wrong place. That's not a problem.
But apparently I'm going to collide with the wall, so I can't run it.
Yeah. So what I'd suggest you actually do is move your first move.
Yeah.
Just resolve that, and then see where you want to go with your second one. Rather than trying to chain it together. It's all good fun when we can chain it together, but
yeah. As we do there, one action, 2 actions puts me over there.
That's probably where it doesn't like you going through the corner of the building, so you might.
Yeah, it doesn't. Move myself to there first, and then technically to there.
Yep. And now you can probably quite happily see them.
Yeah, it's going to take me another move action to get in there otherwise, because otherwise encounter actions I don't have charge or anything like that. So I will screw it. Sense of humour, straight in the front.
Yeah?
Yeah, why not? It's going to make... Can I get to there?
You
No,
can,
I was just going through.
You absolutely can, though. These... Well,
They are up.
you would
They're
need
up
to
in the
make-
rafter bits.
Yeah, they are up in the rafters, so I'm quite happy to say that you can get down, you can get to that point. So that's not a problem. I'm fine with
1,
that.
2, and 3.
I'm fine with that. Okay, so that's that. Neffy, as I said, it's your go. And
Still doing the cardio.
I'd have to move so I can actually see them.
so it's 5 foot to there.
So that's one move.
Are you doing that as a
that's
single move,
one
or just
action.
counting it as part of a move action? I'm happy for you to count it as part of a move if you're going to carry on, or do you think that would just be a step?
I think that's what I'm likely to do, because which one threw the dart?
So your best guess is this one. That's the most obvious one out of all of them.
Well, so the reason I ask is because I have surprise attack, so if
do.
something hasn't acted,
Yep,
and I would have rolled stealth for my initiative because
Yep.
I was doing the hide.
absolutely.
So I want to shoot at that one.
There, yeah. So he counts as flat-footed.
So he's
because-
flat-footed, yeah.
Correct. Yep. Absolutely.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so do I just shoot as normal and you adjust something? Is that right?
So flat-footed is a -2 to the creature's armor class.
Bro. So I rolled a 21.
Now, I am going to say that because of the fact that you're shooting up through these planks and everything else, he does have a little bit of cover. But with all of that taken into account and everything else, that is still a hit. So please roll your damage.
Okay, so that means I get an additional D6.
You do, because you get your sneak attack as well, don't you?
Yeah.
Because he is flat-footed, so you get sneak attack.
Because he's flat-footed, which is why I was doing it.
Yeah.
See, you think I'd realise what I was doing?
So roll your damage.
8.
8 points of damage. Ouch! You hear a palpable screech from up in the top. No! But it doesn't seem to drop dead. It does seem to still be standing. You do have one more action.
I reload my crossbow.
You reload your crossbow. Absolutely. So the two that you can see there, they're sort of dealing with the fact that one of them's just been shot quite bad. However, another one pops out from around the corner and will take a step to there. He will throw a dart at Neffy, having just
Rude.
watched. Well, he's watching you reload his crossbow and has realised that you've shot his mate. So rude might not be the term that you want to use here. I think he's feeling quite justified in his disappointment in this approach. So a 22.
No, misses.
Really?
Doesn't miss.
Really? you want to start down that path, do you?
No.
You take 1 point of damage as this dart hits into you, and then he's going to sort of realise that the darts aren't that much good. Put them away, drop the other one he was holding, and pull out a short sword. But that is his all of his actions. Phelan, it is your go.
Right. So, Phelan will raise shield.
Mm-hmm. Giving yourself that nice AC bonus.
Carefully scope out this guy and this guy.
Yeah.
Make the sign of the horns and throw an electric arc between them.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Fair enough. So we're gonna try with the electric arc. Okay.
Yeah. So basic DC 17 reflex save from both of them.
It is. Yeah. So the front one out on here. A DC reflex save. He's going to roll a 22. So I think he's probably okay. It's basic though, isn't it? So as long as that's not critical, he's going to take half damage still. And the one at the back is going to get a nat 20, so critically succeed. So he's not going to take any damage. But if you would do the half damage, please, for the one at the front.
Okay.
You know what we said before about you rolling too well, Matt?
Yeah. I know. We won't bring up the incident with the flaming sphere in 5th ed. Anyway, yes, half damage, please, Phelan, for this.
Okay, so that's all halved to 2.
2 damage onto that first one. So the one at the sort of stood in front of where Mosrin is sort of sparks and jiggles a little bit, but the one at the back seems to sort of duck and drop as this spark bounces off the wall and completely misses him. So raising shield for 1 action and casting spell for 2, so it is Anka's turn.
I'm assuming none of them are within any range of me.
Well, the way that this is going to work is simply that if you are stood as if you were going to attack it normally, you actually still have the reach to sort of reach up. It's only a 10-foot high. They're 3 foot off the ceiling, so they're only 7 foot. You can easily reach up and sort of crack them with a weapon. So there's no mechanical thing stopping you reaching them.
Sure. Okay. So the little bugger that threw the dart at me.
Yep.
I'll run towards them with my bust sword raised in one hand.
Yep.
And then try to give it quite a swing and see what happens.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Yeah, the only thing I'm giving them is a little bit of cover, so they've got a little bit of an armor boost. But where you are, you actually flank it, so it's going to be flat-footed anyway.
Okay, well, I rolled a 3, so if I add, so I add 7, so that's still only a 10.
Yeah, that is going to miss, I'm afraid. That is going to miss.
So I need to raise my shield again, ready for a block the next round, correct?
No, you have effectively raised your shield because you were defending. You effectively, for the first round of combat, count as if you have already raised your shield. So you are fine effectively until next turn.
Okay. Well, I will try and, after missing the first swing, try and follow through with the second swing.
Okay. Yep. So slightly harder. So you've got a lower attack value.
That is so 19. That's a -5, but so that's a 21 for that.
A 21 absolutely hits. It won't be a critical, but please roll your base damage for your sword.
So my sword does D8 plus my strength.
Yep.
Which is that die. That is 11 damage.
You sort of stand there, see Mosrin on the other side of you, and swing up with the weapon. You missed the first time, but as you come back with your follow through, you just cut this thing straight down, and it drops down to the floor, utterly dead. Well
done.
Moving at all. At which point, the mitflit that has been shot quite hard with an arrow sort of looks at the situation around him, squeaks ever so slightly at what's going on, and you watch him, he scrabbles off. Now, I have a feeling, potentially one of you, does Mosrin have an attack of opportunity?
He does indeed.
Oh dear.
Colin's going to get stabbed right up the butt with a halberd.
So, yeah, not knowing the situation that this creature was in, it's gone running, and
just go double check myself, but yes, I do. Attack of opportunity. There we go. Ever watchful for weakness. You can quickly attack a foe that leave an opening in their defenses. Question: can I combine this with another action, or is it just a straight attack?
Reactions are all you can do is the reaction itself. The advantage of it is you do not have an attack penalty on a reaction. You just go with your highest value.
Cool beans. So this is the halberd at +9 for strike.
Right. Okay.
But it's a 4, so it kind of balances out a bit. So a total of 13.
That is unfortunately a miss. So it will continue to rush off into this corner. And what you all can see, those of you that can see it, which is pretty much just Mosran and Anchor, to be fair, because of the confines, is there is actually a hole in the ceiling at that point, and he starts to scrabble up onto the roof and disappears from sight.
Rats. We'll get him. Clear the rest out.
I saying undercut because there's still one that we can still see, right?
Yep, there is. What I will say is Phelan and probably more Oleron rather than anybody else, you do start to notice that there seems to be a creature scrabbling across a rope that actually attaches this building to the one over the way. You hadn't noticed, it looked more like a vine before or something odd, but you can actually now see the mitflit, sorry, this creature, there you go, told you what they are, is hanging sort of onto a rope, trying to scrabble its way across. It hasn't made it all the way over, but that's where it seems to have gone. And it appears to throw something into the water. It is, however, now Mosran's turn. So you can see one still in the room, sort of hanging around up in the rafters, has a short sword drawn.
That's all right. First action, move up.
Mm-hmm.
Or I would if I have the ability to do so. It's not my turn.
Because it's not skipping that one. There you go. You should be able to now.
Ding ding. There's my movement.
Mm-hmm. Is that all the movement you want to do?
It was that momentary pause forward and a set. Free action request, a bit of a shout. Are we trying to take one alive?
Absolutely.
Okay, and then in that case, then this one's taken some damage or not some damage yet?
Not taken anything yet.
I will make an exacting strike initially.
Okay.
I make a controlled attack, fully accounting for my momentum. However, the failure effect does not count towards my multiple attack penalty.
So, very quick rules thing on that. It is,
Yep.
I believe, exacting strike, if I'm not entirely wrong, a press attack. It has the press trait on it.
Yes.
Press means it has to be at least your second attack in the round.
Gotcha. In that case, then, standard first stab.
Yep.
In that case, Stibbity Stabbity. 15.
That is a hit. Roll
Oh.
damage.
Woohoo!
In fact, that's more than a hit because of the flanking. So the flanking helps.
And the button
Yeah,
for
roll
the damage.
roll your damage.
Damage. We don't want that one. We want that one. Halberd. No, where is it? Where's my
So,
damage rating on this?
Your damage
Oh, no,
on
I'm
Halberd
looking at-
is 1d10 plus 4.
Because I can't click the button in one. And
Yeah.
1d10 plus 4. Yep, there we go. Looking across for it in Wanderer's Guide.
Mm-hmm.
Taking it,
Okay.
kill it.
10.
So you know you wanted
I'm-
to keep one alive.
Do
you want-
a little bit of
do you wanna
damage and then knock it over.
Do you want to describe what you do to this poor thing as you swing round?
In attempt to stab it through the foot with the point of the halberd, he's just slightly too aggressive for a 6'6" orc, and ends up shearing it straight up the back of the leg and through the abdomen.
Boom, right up Main Street.
Ooh,
So just-
dear.
Up one leg and into the midriff. It's like,
I mean, that would do it. That would certainly do it. And unfortunately for this poor little creature, it is absolutely gone, wasted by this thing. Drops to the floor. It
oh, they were
is.
tougher than that.
We are still in initiative. You've technically got another action because that's just 2 actions to get to that point.
Let's try. Okay. There's faux cobwebs and then there's planks.
Yep.
How far up?
7 foot.
I'm 6'6". Nyek.
So you just.
I will elevate myself and see where it's gone or see where it's going to.
Okay, so you start trying to lift yourself up on this thing. It's not exactly designed for your weight, so you are having to be a little bit tentative, but I will say you can press yourself into that top area and try to start getting through to that hole, but the whole thing does feel very spongy underneath you, and you start to think maybe this isn't the best idea in the world.
Just to see.
What I want you to do is I want you to roll an athletics check to see if you are being careful enough in this process to not pull the whole thing down.
Athletics is not bad. Athletics is +7, but you know what? That dice hasn't been overly favourable to me, so I'm going to swap it out for that one. The Laura Bailey method of not quite putting it in a jail just yet. 17 and 7. We're lucky.
Yeah,
it's 24.
I'd say that's more than fine. You managed to press yourself up into this space without you're distributing your weight out properly. You're trying to make sure that you're not gonna fall through. I'll say that does, however, take the entire action. So
that's it. Yeah, I just wanted to see where it was going.
Neffy, you don't know where the other one's gone. Really, you saw it dart off to the east side of this building, but unless. And it is always the thing. It is a free action to shout out. So has anybody shouted out? It's gone through.
I think I will have.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Okay.
So you know that there's one that's darted out and seems to be outside somewhere.
Out to the right.
Out to the east on the map. Yeah.
Yeah, that way.
5, 10.
There you go. You can now see it very clearly.
Okay.
It is, however, aware of the fact that you're there, so it's not going to be flat.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
That said, it is effectively climbing, and I believe if you're climbing, you are flat-footed, so it is flat-footed.
Okay. Then I shall shoot it. 21.
21 is a hit.
You said it is flat-footed.
It is flat-footed.
So I get sneak attack.
You absolutely do.
That's 6 damage.
Would you like to describe what happens to this poor Mitflit as it gets shot in its bum on the way over the bridge?
Well, yeah, essentially that. Neffy takes aim. She's like, "You're not getting away from me," and then shoots, and then giggles as it falls off. Fine.
Okay.
And she's kind of jumping up and down, like the end of Final Fantasy when they win a battle. Yeah.
So we will very, very quickly swap our music back out of combat. I will very quickly just give you the experience for this. Don't worry about that. That's there. So you've all gained experience for the first time.
Yay!
So you have. Go on, Phelan.
I'm gonna go wading and find what that last thing dropped.
Okay.
I
So
want my arrows back. So I'm in the water already. I know it's not a thing in this.
It's not a thing in Pathfinder 2nd Edition.
I know.
So you both start heading towards the water. I'm just going to very quickly check with Anchor and Mosrin. Are you guys doing anything while you're in there?
Whilst I'm up here, I'm going to crawl forward a little bit just to have a look and see where it was going, see if there's anything obvious it was heading for, or if it was just running the hell away.
Okay, so you kind of breeze yourself through along this webbing across the top, and you look and you can see that out of this hole in the wall, and it's a small hole, you wouldn't be able to fit. There appears to be a rope that's been hammered in, and that has been stretched over the top of the water. And there is a corresponding hole in the wall on the opposite side, which the rope has been tied to on that end. So from where you are, it would appear that
literally that crack.
Yeah, it looks like they were getting their way over this sort of this sort of pond, effectively. And while you're kind of looking around and looking at that, what's your perception bonus?
Standard perception bonus is +5.
Of course, critical success. You notice a couple of things. A couple of things are going to out there, but we'll come to that as we move on. Anka, what are you doing while you're here?
So the goblin mentioned a substance to eat for the pixies.
Yes, indeed.
Obviously, I'm not going to eat it. However, taking a sample of it so we can try and see if we can work out what it is.
Absolutely. So you start
like
sort
a
of
good idea.
figuring out something you can pick this stuff up into and put it. It smells horrible. It's revolting. Neffy and Phelan, you start moving up to the water's edge, just to see what this thing is that's been there. I would suggest, I mean, the object itself has been dropped about here. So that's roughly speaking where I would suggest you need to move your tokens to, just so you're sorted. Be aware,
it will do when we can.
Can't.
You for some reason can't. That's interesting. Now you should be able to. There you go. Free movement has been turned back on. It might be that you walk through walls though, which is you might have to figure out a better way. So as you start progressing up this sort of area, you start leaning over and having a look up for what this stuff was that was dropped in the water. As you get closer to it, it starts to look like a very odd lump of white, fleshy material. And you get a little bit close to it. Phelan, what's your nature? In fact, Neffy, what's your nature as well?
+1.
7.
So you're not really that bothered too much about this, Neffy. It doesn't really kind of swing into your wheelhouse. It doesn't really bring up anything. But as Phelan, as you're getting closer and closer towards it, you start to... It looks like a lump of meat. White meat. And I don't just mean chicken white. I mean white. Properly white. And as you get closer and closer to it, you realise that it's kind of segmented, almost like muscle segments. Something you've seen in animals like worms or maggots, you know, where they've got that slight ribbed shape. And while you're kind of peering down at it, you're looking a bit closer on it. Mosran, you start to notice a couple of things on the shoreline that bring up your attention. Just on the northern bank, you can see what appears to be the corpse of a kobold. Just sat on the side. It's rotted. It doesn't look really like a lot of it's left. But that isn't the thing that really gets your attention, because as you're looking down at Phelan and Neffy wandering around, you start to see a dark shape shifting through the water.
Straight away, shout out, get out the water.
We're going to end it there for this time.
Get out the water, shut
I think
Jules moment.
We'll stop there. As this shape starts moving towards you guys. That's the first full session that we've done recorded. That's a bit weird. So I will say goodbye to anybody that's watching. And if you want to talk more, then I'm on Twitter at Big Grumpy Gamer, and the rest of these guys we'll discuss another time if you want to give out any Twitter handles or anything else like that. That is obviously entirely up to you guys. But for me, thank you very much for anybody that has watched these episodes, these 2 hours that we've effectively done so far. And let's see if we can do another random encounter next time.
Yeah.